Hello guys, I'm going to do a video for you for tonight if you would like to try it on. Just to inform you, there will be something on the Zoom. If you download an app, Zoom app, we can always meet over this app. There will be classes from SCD recorded. Probably about twice a week. So if you're happy to join, I will let you know all about it close to the end of the week probably. So just for tonight, you can do this class as we normally do on Thursday night. So I'd like you to sit down in position with your feet in alignment with your knees and hips. And starting to roll back onto the pelvis. Pulling yourself with your arms forward towards your knees, looking down to your thighs and lengthening the spine, sitting up nice and tall again. Take a breath in, and as you're breathing out, roll back again until you feel that stretch in your lower back. Pull yourself with your arms, bending your elbows sideways, lengthening up the spine, and take a breath in. As you exhale, roll down again until you feel the stretch on your lower back. Keep your feet nice and heavy. Try not to hold onto your legs now and hold that position in your abdominal working, rolling slowly away from your thighs, keeping your feet nice and heavy. All the way to the back of your head, and arms are ending up to the ceiling, facing palms in. Bring your feet a little bit closer. Feel like your knees are pointing up to the ceiling and your feet are heavy to the mat. So is the pelvis, back of your shoulder blades and back of your head. Nice and wide collarbones. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, open your arms over your head, stretch. Bringing your arms back in the front of your shoulders, and again, stretch your arms over your head. Keep your ribs nice and flat. Make sure that they're not flaring when your arms are over. And bringing your arms up again. Breathing in as your arms are coming up. And breathing out to return. Let's do a couple more. Take a breath in as your arms coming over. Softening your ribs into your body. And bringing your arms up to the ceiling again. Last one, inhale. Feel that stretch in the back of your shoulders. Soften your ribs. Circle your arms around now, down to your hips and up to the ceiling. Up and over your head and around. Breathing in as your arms coming over. As you exhale, bringing your arms down to your hips, spiral the arm in your shoulder socket. Allow the arm to have freedom. One more time. And then bring your arms down to the floor. Resting your arms and your shoulder blades in the back of your pelvis. Rock the pelvis up and down like you're doing a pelvic clock. Down to the heels, up to the chest. Rocking the pelvis against the floor. Feel the massage on your lower back at the same time, like you're imprinting the lower back curve and then trying to find your neutral. Again, imprinting that curve and flattening the curve as much as you can to the mat. And then opening up the back and feeling the sit bones come apart. Take a breath in again and keep your natural curve of your lower back. Breathe out and draw your abdominal gently in and make it like a zip on your lower trousers. So you're tightening the muscles about 30%, and then you bring the knee up into the tabletop. Same you do with the other leg, and you keep the hips very heavy when the other knee comes up. 90 degree in your knee bend and your hip fold. Keeping your arms supporting you, so is your shoulder blades. Trying to allow that right foot now, tap the toes against the floor and return. Do the same with your left leg. You exhale as your leg comes away. You inhale and you bring the leg back into the hip socket. So think of your bone structure. The thigh moves away from your hip without making any bigger gap in your lower back, and then returning. So you need to support it with your abdominal, drawing them in, zipping leg into the tight trousers, not to allow the lower back to make any bigger curve than it is. As you exhale, sending the leg down, inhale, return. Let's do this for another 4 times in total. As you exhale, inhale, return. Exhale, send, inhale, return. One more time, inhale, return. Exhale, sending, securing the back, and inhale, return. We're going to take the foot by foot down in control and rest. Bring your arms up to the ceiling, palms facing up, and bringing the knee by knee up again into the tabletop. Now we're going to combine the arms and the legs to work together. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, feel like everything is melting from the front to the back of your spine, and you're going to stretch the arm and leg. And inhale, return. Breathe out as your leg and arm opposite sides across your body, stretching out. Try not to lie the leg down to the floor. Keep it above the floor so you're supporting from the hip. And then bring it back into the starting position. Hands in the front of your shoulders and knees in the front of your hip sockets. As you exhale, push out, exhale, inhale, return. Again, breathe out as you're stretching them and holding the lever in your center, and then coming back. Let's do this for 4 more. Exhale. Inhale. Make it flow. Inhale, make it harder. Exhale. Inhale. Breathe out. Let's do another 2 on each side. Keeping your shoulder blades still on the mat. And slowly take the foot by foot down against the floor, so is the arms resting on the sides. Bring your hands now behind your head, and elbows are in your peripheral vision, so make sure they're not flat on the floor. They are slightly lifted and you can actually see them. Feel like you're making a hammock to your back of your head. Feel like there is a connection between the back of your head and your hands and vice versa. So try to have a little press against each other. Take a breath in and feel the ribs really widening. As you're breathing out, the rib cage is narrowing and engaging your abdominal muscles. Take another breath in. Feel the widening through the ribs, and as you exhale and engage your abdominal and everything shrinks in, you start to tuck your chin and roll up the spine from the shoulder blades and the upper spine. You're trying to peel as much as you can off the mat. Roll back down and breathe in. Repeat that again. As you exhale, everything narrows. Tuck your chin, peel the spine and shoulder blades off the mat, and hold it in the height as long as possible, and then return to rest. We do an exercise called chest raise where we're gonna try to let go of the head as well. So let's do this for 5 times. Inhale to prepare. As you exhale, tuck your chin, peel your shoulder blades, and when you're in that high, try to secure it with the abdominal to bring your hands away from your head and hold on to your legs this time. We're gonna pull a little bit up higher, and you can secure yourself with your front muscle, abdominal muscles, to keep your height the same. And as you're keeping the height, you bring both hands behind your head and you roll away to the floor again. Take a breath in. Lengthen through the spine as you exhale, tucking your chin and peeling up to the chest raise. Secure yourself in the height and bring your hands onto your thighs. Literally grab the thighs because you want to pull yourself up a little bit. Hold the height. Try to secure it as long as possible and then roll yourself down when your hands are behind. And 2 more or 3 more. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, hands, another breath, hold and down. 1 more. Hands back and roll down. Bring your arms now up to the ceiling, palms facing down. Do the same chest raise we just have done now, except the arms now going to go down to the level of your hips. So we do the first step, inhale. And as you exhale and everything starts to narrow in your body, you start to tucking the chin and peel yourself off the mat, and the arms are reaching down almost to your ankles all the time. You're going to pump the arms now and take a breath in through the nose. Breathe out through the mouth. On about 4 to 5 counts. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want, add your leg up or the other as well. Make it harder for yourself. If you stretch 1 leg or 2 legs, make it as hard as you feel challenged. Inhale. Exhale. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 1 more, 10. Bring your foot by foot down and lower yourself down back to the mat. Rest your arms and turn your head side to side just to release the neck tension. Spread your arms a bit wider on the floor. Keep your shoulder blades again heavy. Keep the natural curve of your lower back. Knees are bent and they now together. So glue the thighs together, or knees and feet together. And start rolling off the right hip to the left side. At the same time, your head goes to the right side and your shoulder blades are still on the mat without peeling off. Then you come back to the center and you do the same to the other direction. Keeping the shoulder blade like glued to the mat, the opposite one, and your knees coming to the other side. You're looking in a direction away from your knees and peel the spine back to the mat, vertebrae at a time. Think of the rotation. You're peeling the hip so your lower back peels off the floor, then the middle, and then a little bit further up above, below your shoulder blades. But your shoulder blade needs to stay on the mat, so the very upper back is staying on the mat, glued. And then we're going to come back and unwind the spine back to the front, back to the middle, where it meets your knees and your face again. And inhale as you twisting the spine. So breathing in to feel the stretch, and then breathing out and try to bring that vertebrae at a time, like you articulating from the top of your spine down to the bottom, to feel that movement in your spine. Inhale again. Feel that stretch on breath in, and breathe out and try to get the spine literally piece by piece back to the center. We're going to repeat this another 4 times on each side, with the breath, with the flow. I'm going to make it a little bit harder. If you want to make a little bit harder work, you're going to have your legs actually up in a tabletop, or 1 or 2 legs straight. It's the same twisting, but legs are in the air. And so if you want to make it harder, already you can start with this level. So do it by your ability. What can you do, or what can your body do? Try to listen to your body level, you know, what you can do with a neutral back. Of course, all the things like neutral back, stability has to be there in order to manage to have your legs up there. It's a little harder, so just bear that in your mind. Inhale. Same here, breath in. As you breathe out, you're trying to get the spine back to the center. We do 1 more time on each side. Until we're in the center, and we take the leg by leg down again. The next one I'm going to do is the roll up. You bring your arms up and over your head, next to your ears. Keep the ribs nice and, you know, tucked in, or try not too hard, of course. Use your breath to do that, more like a facilitate your ribs into your body rather than pushing them deliberately. So think of that breath when you do that, and trying to facilitate them to flatten a little bit more if they are too flary. Yeah? Take a breath in to start the exercise, and as you breathe out, you're starting to lift your arm, tucking that chin and rolling up vertebrae at a time, trying to have heavy legs, of course, and then scoop from your abdominal as deep as possible to get over that top and roll forward towards your feet. Reach for your feet. Try to keep that nice gap between your thighs and your body. It feels like you have a ball here sitting, and you go over the ball, because then you get that more length at the back. So try to do that way. And then roll down vertebrae at a time. Breathing out and getting that articulation going on into your spine again. 1 by 1, piece by piece, however you can do it. Try your best. And I'll give you an option when you have a difficulty with this one. Just a minute as I come up. Inhale. As you exhale, peeling off, scooping and trying to draw the abdominal. It's almost like the ribs going under your heart, because that part is the most difficult. You scoop in, and keeping your legs really heavy is important, and coming forward over the ball. Now I've got this band here, and you can make it easier. This is the easier way. Some people like it anyway, so use the band if you have it at home. Hold on to it, but not too tight at the moment. You can just keep your arms loosed and keep that band nicely in the middle of your foot, and perhaps have them flat, these feet, so the band doesn't come off easily. In fact, it's really important to reach through the heels and have the length going away from the rolling. So reaching your legs one direction, and then you're trying to articulate slowly down to the mat, breathing several breaths using. So you use several breaths during this exercise, as much as you need to get the spine down as close as possible and articulate more and more. Take a breath in now to start, and as you breathe out, tuck your chin first and lift your head, and reach your arms and start curling and thinking of the rib cage to curl under your heart almost, to come up through the middle easier. And then you just come over towards your legs to stretch the back. Let's reach the legs away, breathing many breaths. Use as many as you want, really, and it does help to actually let the back to release a bit more for you. Take a breath in, roll up, vertebrae at a time, roll up. And what we did in the class quite often is the singing. So we sing to the 10 or 8, and then actually 8, and then we sing backwards. As we're doing the exercise, it shows the where is the hardest bit for you to actually manage to get the spine down. So take a breath in at first, and then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to do another 2. I'm going to try without the band. Inhale. And as you exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With your arms free, you can go over your head. You can circle them around and come up in that way. Scoop, 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 scoop. Come over. And again, rolling away. Coming down. And circle again. And bring your knees bent. And arms along the body. So here, what I would like to do, I'd like to take the band. If you do have the band, you can do the band. Without, it's also possible. So I'll show you different ways to do it. Let's do the knee bend first, the lower option, let's say. Take a breath in, keep your left foot heavy and both back of your hips heavy to the mat. Bring your right knee up into that tabletop. Again, remember that you need to use the abdominal not to lose any arches in your curve, just like a natural curve, yeah? Now bringing the knee around, so it's like the thigh bone is staring in the hip socket. You might get some clicks in the hip socket, but try to engage deeper the abdominal so your thigh bone is free and it feels like oily. So really try to think of that word oily hip, that you can feel that is smoothly circling in the leg as much as possible. Can be done with a straight leg, but it's much harder without the band. Try to keep the natural curve as well in your lower back while you do that. when you do it with a straight leg, make sure that the leg is actually up. It's not away, it has to stay up. So if you don't have the hamstring to do that, maybe it's better option for you to have a bent knee. But if you have a band, you can use it, and it's easier for anybody to do it with a band and hold the leg actually in the place it's meant to be. And then you circle it. Same way as the thigh bone with the bent knee. Now the other leg, you can see I'm trying to keep very still. Imagine that you have something fragile sitting on the top of your kneecap, and you don't want to really spill it, yeah? So imagine a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, whatever you like I always say, something where you don't want to drop. Breathe out as your leg moves away from you. Get the spiral of your thigh bone in the socket, because that helps you to have that oily feeling, that nice freedom in the hip. And for that, you're working on your abdominals and the oblique muscles to really keep the other hip on the floor without making some peels or gap, yeah? So try not to. You can reverse the movement for another 5. So you can be with the band, you can be without the band. And doing the same with the other leg. So again, I showed you into the tabletop, circling with just the thigh if you haven't got the flexibility of your hamstring, keeping the other hip very much on the floor, or straight leg. Without the band, as I said, is a bit harder to let the other hip not to come off the floor. So if you are strong enough, if you're flexible, try what it does. But if it doesn't feel comfortable, maybe do the bend knee, or if you have the band. So we're gonna do 5, 4, and then you reverse it, right? So 5 the other way. Help yourself with the arm. You're holding the band if you have the band. So you hold the band tight. So the leg is free in your hip. And then we're gonna put the foot back again. Next one I'd like to do is the bridging. I like to use the band, but if you don't have it, you don't need to use it for this. It's just to make it a little bit harder, and you might not have it at home. So yeah, and probably it's too late to go to Salvation Army to get it. So if you don't have it at home, never mind, you just do it without it. Keep the gap nice and narrow in your inner thighs, between the knees. Have them with your hip socket and your feet right in alignment. If you look down, there shouldn't be a huge gap. Think of the center of your hip, center of your knee, and center of your foot, okay? It's important that you use your adductors as well when your inner thighs. So if you have the band, hold it on against the floor, and then you're gonna peel the spine from the pelvis, lower back, and only up to the bottom of your shoulder blades. And then check or feel that your legs are not now apart more, that they actually holding the gap. We just set it up. And then we roll back down, vertebrae at a time, to the pelvis and back onto the natural curve, yeah? So at first you might imprint the curve, but then you just release it again. Take your breath in, and as you breathe out, coming up. Peeling the spine up. Feeling the glutes, hamstring, inner thighs, and feet are heavy on the mat. Vertebrae at a time, and trying to really articulate the spine until we get the neutral. Take a breath in. Shoulder blades are against the floor. Breathing out. Arms are pushing down to the floor on the sides. Regardless if you have a band or not, your arms are still supportive and they on the mat. As you roll down vertebrae at a time, imprinting the spine and back into the neutral. Let's do 3 more. Breathing out, opening this front of your hips. You feel like you pressing the front of your hips up and away from your head. It's important to peel them and then open them up away from your head direction. So you need to really think of not just pushing up to the ceiling, but also reaching, almost like you're reaching with your knees away from the top of your body. Inhale, and as you exhale, start coming up, peeling away, like you want to feel the spine in a stretch almost. But at the same time, keep feeling a hammock shape in your lower back, and don't push that back too high. It's really peeling and pulling away. And then hold it there. You should feel the back of your legs here, a bit of glute as well. And we're going to start doing this little heel lift, making it a little bit harder. So the left heel lift, but the toes are pressing down, you can see it, and then push back onto the floor. Keep your inner thighs working, and let's do the right foot and left foot, and keep doing that for a few more. While you're doing this, if you have the band, you're pressing against the band, so is your arms pushing down onto the floor, and you're keeping that high level of the hips in a level as you set them up. So they still open, they still are maintaining that position without any hiking or any dropping of the hip level, yeah? Inhale and exhale. Do another breath. And then stop the heels walking and roll that spine for the last time down. Imprint piece by piece and back into the neutral. Let's do a little bit stretch for that. We're going to put the leg across the thigh like this. And then we grab that thigh, which is the foot on the floor, behind. So you get that, we call this pigeon stretch. So you're going to pull that leg towards you and feel the right, in my case is the right glute, is stretching. If you keep your lower back very much on the mat, that's where you're going to feel it stronger. If you keep curling the pelvis in, it's going to be weaker stretch. So, whichever you prefer, but whichever you can manage. Ideally, you will have that pelvis still sitting on the mat. And just for a few breaths, holding the stretch. And then we're going to try to change the leg. So it goes across your top thigh. And then you bring that leg towards you. If you can't use your arms and you can't reach the leg properly, you can use the band or towel. Towel is another option. You can bring it behind your thigh like this and just hold the leg with it. Even if you can't reach the thigh, you could just do it over your shin, just to hold the leg in the air. Because when you have that foot on the floor, it's not maybe as an effective stretch. So just however you can pull the leg or foot off the floor would be ideal. Good. And then take it down. We're going to take it to the side lying position. I think you can see me. Lovely. Okay. So we have nice and flat feet, so you can see that I'm pointing the toes towards the camera, and the heels are kind of reaching down to the skirting board. And then, ideally you look forward in your view, so you don't tuck your chin to haven't got this, not to have the spine in your neutral. So think of your neck, part of the spine. So we ideally will be in alignment, looking forward, and you're reaching through the crown of your head, you're reaching through the legs, So if you kind of wobble from front to the back, you feel, where do you feel the center of it? Just think about that. And then try to zip and tighten your tummy, only about the 30% again. Don't try to do it as that you can't breathe. And then breathing in and out freely through the rib cage again. And from here, you know, we're gonna do this opening legs apart and then lowering down. Let's do this for 8, 2, 3. Trying to push that lower leg towards the floor because you feel that stability on the side. If you want to try it without holding and you're able to do it, great. We're gonna do the other leg. So we hold the leg in the air, and now it's a bit harder to lift the leg when we're trying to stabilize ourselves on the floor. And 2. So you might just hold it on it again and have few fingers holding in the front. Another 4. And then legs together just above the floor, doing the scissors, and we split the legs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, take it down. And then I'd like you to perhaps come up onto the forearm. Knees are bent. Ideally, heels will be in alignment with your lower back. And then remember the happy shoulder. So you don't want to be slouching here too much. You don't want to be pushing way too hard against the floor. You want to feel like you actually, your arm, underarm, like the armpit, and the ribs, which are here, trying to push away or peel away from the floor. Yeah, so you're trying to lift from your arms, so you don't feel the pressure again on your forearm. And so bring your hip up in the air and bring your arm over, doing the side bend. You feel the muscles underneath, so feel the muscles underneath as you're feeling long C curve to the side, and then coming down, and again coming up. Inhale. Perhaps don't sit on the floor completely and make it harder for yourself, yeah? So inhale and exhale. We do 6, so we have another 4 to go. And then we do one more on the side, which is the twist. Some of you might do it with actually resting hip on the floor and doing it just in the lower beginner option. Some of you will be able to lift the hip and hold the hip in the air while you're doing this. So make it harder for yourself if you can. Otherwise, stay with your hips on the floor. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take it down. Good. Same way you do on the other side. Again, finding the balance at first. Hip over the hip, shoulder over the shoulder, using abdominal muscle. And when you're ready, you press apart your legs. 1, 2, 3. We do 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holding the leg a little bit lower, not too high, when you do the inner thigh. Using a bit more abdominal now. 3, 4, 5, 6, lengthening the spine, 7, 8. Now lower just above the floor your legs, reach them out, feel the hip is still kind of pushing down away from your ear or shoulder, or down to the feet, so you don't feel like you squashing that waistline. So make sure that there's a little gap there, and then start doing the scissors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we do 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, and take it down. Bend your knees, come up onto the forearm. The hand is not in the front, is more like out. I don't know if you notice on the other side. Just to remind you again, the elbow is right underneath of that shoulder, to feel like you're lifting from the armpit, from the ribs apart. And then you're trying to push the knees into the floor as well, to get the nice reach and C curve, long C curve. So again, you don't have to go to the floor, or just go and rest each time if you feel that this is too hard. Inhale when you go over, exhale, inhale, exhale. We do 6, yeah? 3 more. One more. Now bring your arm here in level of your shoulder or other elbow, and then go into that nice scoop and round spiraling spine. You can have your hips on the floor if you need to for the easier option. 3. We do 3 more. And then take it down. Lovely. From here, I'd like you to take a seat, and let's start from our saw or spiral of the spine and saw afterwards. I'd like to use the band if you have the band again. If you don't, just do it without. It's the same. There's no difference to it. It's just that the arms feel working harder when you have the band. So now you're going to lengthen the spine as much as possible. Have your hands at the back to prepare yourself, and push almost like you going to tip the pelvis backwards. It's like you want to arch your back with your hands helping you to get the pelvis into the position, and you feel like you're on the top of your sit bones. You really feel like the sit bones are just, you're sitting on them right on the top of them. So I'd like you to lengthen then from here, and as you know, you can bend your knees to make it easier. You can have your legs more like into the diamond shape, or if you prefer, Linda and Gordon more likely will have legs like this, which is fine too, as you know, but keep sitting upright as much as you possibly can. So I'm gonna legs stretched, if that's okay, and then we lengthen up again, and I'm gonna bring the band in the front and stretch it. So you stretch the band across your chest, yeah, so it's not in the front of your face, it's not in a waistline, it's more like here in the front of your chest bone, yeah, the sternum. So you're gonna bring your arms and stretch them across, try to push them back, that you feel the shoulder blades working, and then we spiral the spine around, and we keep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Keep spiraling each way to feel if your spine can get the mobility each time better because of your breath. Shoulders are pulling apart from your ears, and you keep the head on the top of your pelvis, so feel like it's aligned, yeah, with your pelvis, that is not kind of pushing forward or looking down. Really look around as you spiral your spine, and try to keep your head on the top. And if you have the band, then let the band go now, and we trying the saw where it comes to this bending forward and reaching for your opposite leg. We do the same spiral as we've done so far. At the moment I'm in a position turning left, so I'm looking left, and then I'm reaching to my left leg. The other arm is reaching back and the shoulder is turning in, so it makes it easier for the shoulder. Okay, so you reach forward, you feel like you have that big stretch across your back, and you feel like you have that ball sitting on your thighs, so you don't want to go squashing that ball, you just want to go over it and feel the stretch at the back. And then we're gonna do to the opposite. Inhale as you're in the middle, exhale to twist and stretch. Inhale. We do another 4 to each side. Exhale. Focus on the flow if you can. There is always 3 movements to it: twist, forward, bend, and lengthening the spine. So try to always do the 3 movements. Yeah, that there is always twist, there is always bend forward, and there is always these lengthening up again. 2 more. 1 more to each side, of course. And then take your arms down. The next exercise I'd like to do is the mermaid. So we're gonna take legs into the Z seat, or again, if some of you can't do it in this position, Jeanette, I remember, and maybe other, maybe can't put the leg this way, you sitting or here again, or with the crossed legs in the front. Yeah, you could be on a chair as well, remember. On this one too, but you don't have to, or you sitting on a block or something if you have at home, a little box, makes it easier, and you might be able to take the legs slightly to the side, that's all. So the purpose of the exercise again is the side C curve you're making, and we're gonna get to the forearm because I think it's quite nice and easy to rest on that forearm while you're stretching the other side. And so we're gonna do the opposite side, and few more. Inhale, get the stretch and open the rib cage from the side like accordion. Imagine that. Perhaps it helps. And when you're breathing in, you actually get the feel of it. If you send the breath into the side ribs, then you will feel it. And as we always do in a class, we not resting on the forearm anymore, and we're trying to balance out in a way that you can use your core muscles. So you're trying not to now lean completely, you're just trying to side bend, almost the same as far as you did before, but trying not to rest into the arm and not helping yourself to bounce off the floor, and you have that core control hopefully to get a little bit more to a workout. Inhale, exhale, do another 2, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and then relax. Other side. So at first I'll start with the stretches where you're really resting into the forearm and you're just trying to get stretch more than anything else. And that shoulder here is also pushed down away from your ear. Make sure that you're not slouching the shoulder and just really sinking to it. Use the underneath like you did before, the exercise on the side when we lifted the hip. Similar side bend. And then we're gonna go here Again, one more stretch. Last one. And let's go without resting too much into the floor. There's a little, obviously, resting. It's just that you try the best not to bounce off that floor or keep, you know, without any effort to side bend. Yeah, so we kind of really making an effort now with the body as we go side to side without that gentle touch on the floor, and we feel that work. So it's very different from the first one. Breathing in one way, exhale the other. We do 3 more. Last one. And then we go on all fours. 4-point kneeling. I like to spread the fingers and have that wrist really useful for the weight bearing, so it doesn't, so my wrist gets stronger. You also want to feel that you trying to lift away from the wrist. So hand is still holding on the floor, of course, and the upper body, which is sitting in your wrist, you need to feel like you trying to make an effort to move away from them. So try that, it really helps, as I always say, these in class. And so is the pelvis over the knees, but obviously the legs are stronger. So you could also shift a little bit more weight into the legs. So if you have wrist problems, and again, maybe Hillary will have fists, so you obviously can be on your fists instead. Yeah, try to manage however you can, and also take your time with it, and if you have enough, you just stop, rest and continue later. So use your own level. Yeah, again, soften your elbows, make sure the inner elbows are looking at each other. Yeah, that there is no hyper locking elbows, like that the elbows are bent the other way. Soften them a little, so you're in your shoulders and your upper body like you do a push-up. Wrists below your shoulders, knees below your hips. The legs are in alignment. If you look down between the thighs, you don't see your feet usually. So if they're aligned, yeah. Then you position yourself that you're facing kind of like the front of the mat. The gaze are looking up there rather than directly between your hands. And try to feel like you're tucking the chin to lift the weight of your back of your head up to the ceiling. Imagine like something is holding you from the ceiling and you're pulling away from the wrists again. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, now you're gonna press right hand and left knee, and you start to lift the left hand and right knee. So you're trying to just hover them off the floor. So you have a little push or lift, I rather say lift away from the floor. So everything lifts, so is your left wrist and right knee. Then you start driving them into that aligned position with your shoulder and hip. Reach both ways equally, so there is no shifting from the other arm. And then taking it down below and up again. So try not to rest them completely, because you're gonna lose that focus on the lift. Yeah, so try to keep it lifted all the time, and let's do 6 times on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take it down and do exactly the same on the other side. So again, lift, hold in the air, and then reach equally and lower. Breathe, use the breath with it. Breathe out 3 more. Shoulders apart. And then rest your hand and knee equally on the mat. Take a stretch, child pose. Sit back on your heels and push your back down. Now tuck your tail in so you feel like you are stretching your lower back and starting to roll up. And then from the roll up, we press up onto the shins and we are kneeling, standing kneeling. And then you open the hips to use the back of the muscles, the hamstring, the buttocks, to actually feel open in the front of your hips. Draw the abdominal in at the same time, zip up, open the collarbones and shoulders, face forward, whatever forward is for you, and bring your arms in the front of your shoulders. And then you're going to go back to stretch the thighs. So you're leaning at the back of your knees and then return. Your shins will feel quite heavy before you start leaning back. So again, engage the back muscles, like hamstrings and glutes. Push your shins down to the floor, and then you get the lean back. Feel that stretch across the front of your thighs. Your legs are quite narrow when we do that, so make sure that they're not too much apart. They actually quite in alignment, like we did the bridging. Inner thighs also work. So we're gonna go back again and inhale. Exhale, return. Just do this another couple of times. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And then we're gonna go onto the front, lying down position. And we do a slow kind of build up on a swan and swan dive. So we're having the face hovering off the mat, lengthening through the neck, having your hands below your forehead, and maybe rest your forehead on your hands for now. Inhale and press against the floor, and your chest will kind of lift. And then you come back to the mat and rest. Again, inhale as you're pressing up away from the floor. Your chest lifts. Your ribs are staying on the mat, they don't come off the mat yet. So you get that pressure only as far as your upper spine will allow you to. Now stay here in that position and take your hands, kind of unfold them apart. And from that position, I'd like you to feel like you are sending the floor away from you and you're getting that press. And then the ribs are lifting off the mat. Use the abdominal towards your spine. Keep the pelvis really heavy on the mat, pressing, and reach your legs or toes to the skirting board. Lengthen the spine through that position. And then come back onto the mat. Fold your hands together. Rest your forehead. Let's do this 4 times. Pressing. Inhale. Taking your hands apart. Exhale. Press up. Lengthen the whole body. Extend your spine. Coming down to the forearms. Back to the fold. Resting your head. 2 more. Coming up. Inhale. And exhale. Pressing, shoulders are down, they're pushing away from your ears as well. So your armpits drop or something like that. You can do it. Inhale. Now we stay here, right? And we keep reaching the legs until the feet will lift off the floor. And we start doing the swan dive when we roll, kind of, if you feel like your legs are reaching up, they will go higher when your chest is lowering to the floor. And then the legs go down and your chest comes up. Inhale with your chest, exhale with your legs. And then start rocking. And maybe some of you, as I know, can go all the way here to this position where you're much higher with your hands closer to you. And then you're bending your elbows back as you're doing that. So you inhale with your chest, exhale with your legs. Inhale with your chest, exhale. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Hold it here, lengthening your legs and coming down, vertebrae at a time, and resting. Push yourself up to the child pose stretch. Sit back onto your heels and give that tuck of your tail under so you feel that more stretch on your lower back. One more time. It's like you're scooping through your abdominal and you're tucking that tail under, rounding that lower back and feeling the stretch on the lower curve. And then gradually you just roll the spine up again. And we're going to get to the standing position and roll up. So from all 4-point kneeling position, tuck your toes like this and reach your heels back. If your heels don't go on the floor, it's fine. Of course, try only as much as you can. And push through the shoulders to feel that you have a stretch on your shoulders, downwards dog. It's called. And then lift yourself on your toes and reach your heels back down. Do it a few times to feel the nice stretch. And then crawl towards your feet. Stay there for a little and just adjust your weight on your front of your feet, on your ball of your feet. And then when you have that, you start to roll up the spine. You keep the weight in the front of your feet more than the heels, and then roll up. Shoulder roll. Shake your arms, shake your legs, shake your whole body. Take the big breath in into your nose. Fill up the ribs. Fill up the lung. Hold the breath. And then when you breathe out, it's very slow through the mouth. Release the breath. Do this breath one more time. Inhale. Fill up the lung. And through the mouth. Exhale. And we're done for today. Well done, everybody. So as I said, I'm going to do a class through a CD company from Gemma. And there will be an opportunity that you can actually join onto Zoom and join one of those classes. You have to do it through their website though. And it will be probably 2 days a week. One in the morning, more likely Thursday morning rather than evening, and Tuesday probably evening. So I hope you might be joining my class then as well. Thank you. Good night.